Okay, sorry. Okay, now you can hear me. Okay, good morning, everybody. No, I saw a mute button earlier on. Okay, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is in the best of health. All right. It's still early in the morning on a Saturday morning. Either some of you are at work or probably working or listening in. Probably if by the time this is probably on your podcast and all that, probably you'll be listening this right through your podcast. But whichever avenue, whichever channel that you're listening to us right now, but I think what's most important is about sharing this link, sharing this information, sharing this story, because at the end of the day, we like to actually spread the knowledge, spread the information, spread the stories to more people out there. So, all right. So, if I can request, whether you are whichever channels that you are watching us from, whether is it on Facebook, YouTube, or LinkedIn, feel free to go and share to all your friends. All right, so that more people can actually benefit from this live session as well. I will share a little bit more. I will share a little bit more about what exactly is this all about, so that you guys have a better understanding on what this whole concept or what this whole new live series is really about. Okay, I'm actually quite excited because my first guest today, I've had a conversation with her prior to this, and we had a good chat about some of the happenings that happens in our various countries as well, and how things have changed, how things has evolved, right? But people still keep going, people still continue, keep pushing, despite whatever odds it may be out there, right? So, a quick introduction. What Do You Do is a new live series or a new podcast series where I will be having conversation with individuals out there to understand a little bit more about their profession, what they do professionally, and what are some of the myths, some of the misunderstanding about their profession, right? So, for example, if I'm just going to quote, people usually have this assumption: if an actor usually is a rich person, stays on a landed property, driving a expensive car, but is that the reality of that profession? Okay, so this is exactly what Do You Do is all about, and we will be having conversation with various individuals over the next couple of weeks or months. At the same time, to also hear from them, because you never know, maybe there are people out there who wants to be like these individuals out there as well, but they do not know who they can seek for help from. They do not know who they can actually seek advice from, right? So this might be a good opportunity for them to hear from the horse's mouth lah. All right. So for today's live, all right, it's not about me, because people asking me, so Syuk, you are doing this live, is it about you? Then I said, if you realize more, when I did up the whole poster and the EDM, right, my photo was very small. It was a very small photo on the left hand side, but it's the guests, whoever that I'm going to be bringing in for my life actually. Because why? It's not about me. It's about the people, and my purpose is very much to be that avenue, to be that platform, to be that channel, to be that source for people to find out more, and for people to have actually reach out to various group of people as well. Okay, so for today's live, or in fact for my today very first session, actually very thankful, very fortunate, very grateful to have with me. I'll bring her on screen just in a bit. All right, let me see whether I can actually introduce her the correct way for all her accolades and all her background, because she's been doing this for quite a while. She's been doing this for quite a while. So I have Intan with me for today. She's very much she's a certified EQ, mindfulness, and NLP practitioner. So you can expect someone who's very zen, very calm, very composed. All right. She's also the founder and owner of Profound Learning Solutions, Sendirian Berhad. All right. She's been doing training, facilitation for over, I would say, with her decades of experience in various both corporate and business sector as well. Cutting across various industries, from banking to communication to sales, training, consultancy. So you can expect someone with a good solid background when it comes to advice lah. Not just somebody who just say, oh, I can give you advice, but probably this person doesn't have background experience. Okay, so she has that background experience to tell you, hey, you know what, this is probably might be useful for you, this is probably practical for you. So I think I don't want to waste any more time, because I think best to hear from her about what she has to share with us. So let me just bring Intan right on the screen. Good morning, Intan. Hello.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. The weather is nice today in Kuala
Absolutely.
Lumpur. hot actually.
Oh,
Sunny and nice, but last week I saw the temperature was 30, 38, 39. Like, oh, crazy.
ooh,
It's okay, but it's okay.
more reason for people to stay at home actually,
Yeah.
so that they don't go out. So hopefully the number will be gonna get lower much faster as well. We
Yeah.
always praying for, we're always really praying for things to get better over in Malaysia as well, so that we can also go in and visit you guys and enjoy some of the good food down there.
Yes, I miss good food in Singapore as well. Soup
Yeah.
tulang and all that.
Oh wow.
And
Oh yes. Whenever I go to KL, I will go to what do you call that? Kampung Baru to have that. There's this particular shop that sells nasi ayam penyet tau. I can't remember the shop name, but I always go to that particular shop just for the nasi ayam penyet at Kampung Baru. Yeah. Yes. Wow.
okay.
So thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this conversation. Thank you so much for agreeing to be part of this live session as well. Perhaps maybe just to give a bit of background or a bit of I would say guideline, a bit of how should I put it? Structure to this, a bit of structure to this. All right. Because I wouldn't want to bore the audience as well. All right. But at the same time, I don't want to keep it too short because I'm trying to squeeze you dry as well, because it's not easy to catch your time as well. So I'm going to make sure I'll ask as much question as possible.
Please do.
So the structure will be as such. We will probably have this conversation for the next maybe about 30 to 40 minutes, depends on how the conversation flows as well. And there will be a series of questions that I'm going to ask you. But rest assured, I will be asking a lot more about you, yourself, and your profession. All right. So you'll be going into conversation like asking what are some of the myths about your profession, something that people misunderstood, people assume about what you do, right? Because especially as you all probably have seen, she's a coach, she's a trainer, she's a facilitator. Stepping into a classroom with a lot of people in front of her, there will be a lot of judgment placed upon you as well, right? So we will be diving in deep to understand a bit more on that later on. All right. But to kickstart today's conversation, maybe what we can do is, Intan, what do you actually do professionally?
Thank you, Syukri. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here, and I was very happy when you shared with me that today's talk is about this profession, because I'm hoping that with whatever that I'm sharing, it'll give some idea for those out there who have some knowledge, who have some passion, don't know how to start and how to go about. Yeah. So what I actually do is, for the past 13 years, 2008 is when I officially get started being a trainer, a full-time trainer. So I use the word trainer, but the actual process that takes place in workshop, we call it facilitating, because that's simply the approach that I love. It's a blend of coaching. So instead of reading PowerPoint slide, telling people some facts which they can Google themselves, I prefer facilitate learning, getting participants to think, brainstorm, give ideas. And my favorite is actually facilitating the process of self-reflection, where when people, because when I first started, my main, I think for 4, 5, 6 years, all I did was a program called Just Speak, where I focus on helping participants who don't have confidence to speak up in English. And in 2 days, I actually designed the program so that in 2 days, they were able to do public speaking in front of 100 other participants in English with whatever level of proficiency that they have.
2 days?
2 days. 2 days.
Crazy. That's crazy. Okay.
There's a lot of NLP, a lot of reflection, and it's actually, it's not super magic science BOMO or anything. We just, as facilitator, we just have to direct them on where to look and where to analyze and where to reflect. The moment they saw, this was my barrier, and we guide them, hey, how can you remove your barrier? This is how you do it. And boom, they were, you can ask my team. We have students from Borneo, we go to out of town, these are teenage students who are teenagers. They come from kampong. Nobody speaks English at home, and they don't get to read any Blyton and all that. But once they become teenager, they realize that they need to have that proficiency competency. They need to have that confidence. Yeah. So on second day, they actually made a queue. Miss, I want to speak in front. And that just gave me joy. So that's pretty much there's mindfulness there, there's EQ there, but at that
Mm-hmm.
time it was purely addressing confidence. Yeah, addressing the fear,
Mm-hmm.
removing the fear, and building confidence in 2 days, and create breakthrough in 2 days. You know, NLP, if you read anywhere, a lot of people talk about breakthrough. Some of them walk on fire. I did walk on fire myself, but I don't make my participants walk on fire. I promise, you know. Some walk on broken glass, yeah. But for me, I look at what do they need at that time. It was a
Uh-huh.
confidence to speak in front.
I see.
But from 2015 onwards, I focus a lot more on corporate work. So
Okay.
again, presentation skills, communication, and always when I go to corporate, people talk about how difficult they can speak. Okay,
Yep.
language proficiency is not a problem. But dealing with difficult personality at workplace, that's the biggest challenge. So often, where after I finish the class, and they say, "I think the whole company needs to go to your class. I think my boss needs to attend your class. Why did you tell them?" You know. So a lot of if people ask me what do I actually teach or facilitate, is more of understanding people. And
Okay.
in fact, right now I'm also going through and learning cognitive behavioral therapy. Is a therapy that psychologists use to treat people in depression. But I want to learn that so that I can bring that lessons into classroom of
Mm-hmm.
understanding self and understanding others. You know, don't wait until you need to see a therapist before you discover that. So I've
Makes
started
sense.
using that, and I
Uh-huh.
found that in my stress management class, and I found
Yep.
that my participants really appreciate that.
Wow. I hear you. I like when you mentioned about the how I think the 2 days was really very powerful one, and I think when you mentioned that, the fact that it's not just me coming in to say that this is the concept about what communication is. It's not about that, but it's actually diving in deep to talk about the NLP aspect, how the brain works, how your character works, and that's why within that 2 days that it's able to that very powerful paradigm shift as well. So I think that's really fantastic. But I got a question for you. Just now you mentioned about you conducted a classroom, I mean a workshop, and then after you conducted, and they say, hey, I think my bosses should go. So did the bosses actually went?
I left it to my marketing agent, say, you go and tell to the boss. Because that's how we work over here, trainers. I don't do direct marketing all the time. I work in
Okay.
collaboration, so I have people who will pitch for me.
Uh-huh.
You know, and by there are times that client call me directly, and I just, you know, hey,
Nice.
morning, Jacqueline,
One. Yeah.
Moihan, Eric.
See, all the
Whole
names start
gang is
coming in
here.
already, you know. Yeah, come.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, they are so excited to see the faces on the screen on a Saturday morning. Thank you so much, Jacqueline. Thank you so much, Eric. You know, I love Eric's content. Whenever Eric shares, right?
Okay.
Oh, I love his content. Yeah.
Okay.
Eric, thank you so much for joining in. Mui Han, right? Is that how I
Moihan.
pronounce? Mui Han, yes.
Moihan,
Thank you so much.
my taiko. That's my taiko. He
Wow.
also he also facilitate on EQ and change management.
Wow. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Wow. Okay, cool. Thank you so much for joining us. We are only at the first bit of the conversation. I'm just trying to buy time actually. So I did not actually interject when Intan was actually sharing, because I wanted to actually let her talk. Give her all the airtime, because again, this is not about me. It is about you. It's about what you do, and for other people to hear about what you do. And I really love how you started off the entire conversation about the demographic, the kind of people that you engage with. So in fact, because we only got about 30 to 40 minutes, right? I want to actually move into my next question for you, lah. Right, I'm gonna move into my next question for you, because you talk about you are dealing a lot with people. All right, you're dealing a lot with people. So, what are some of the misconception that people have about your profession? Because let's be honest, if I were to just look at your profile or LinkedIn, the first thing I see mindfulness, I see NLP, I see EQ. The first thing on my mind, oh, this person would come into the classroom in a very zen mode, play some music, light some candle, very zen kind of training environment. But what are some of the misconception about your profession actually that you have heard from people?
Okay, so for people who are not in my profession, some of the thing that they thought
Mm-hmm.
we enjoy is superstar treatment. I think we're like superstar. We are the star of the show. I can tell you this much, yeah. If anybody want to go into this profession, be
Yep.
ready to be a servant, because that's what make a true facilitator. Our role is actually as a servant. We are in service. Participants are the star. So if you come in with that mindset, the participants can feel it. They are the VIP. It's all about them. I know a little bit here and there, but the
Yep.
session is purely about them, about their breakthrough, their aha moments.
Yep.
So I don't have bunting with my face. I don't even have my face on my slide because I want to avoid that. I don't want them to, oh, you're the Sifu
Idolize.
guru. I don't have
Hmm.
that. Yeah.
I see. I see.
I'm more of, I'm the behind the scene, you be the star. So I've
Mm-hmm.
also have trained trainers, and I love it when they shine, and I want to change that concept, because here in Asia, we have this concept of, if you're a guru, a sifu, or a teacher,
Mm-hmm.
participants are not allowed to question you, and participants will just
Ah.
take, whatever you
Yes.
say,
Yep.
100%. So I'm not that agreeable to that. I'd rather
Mm-hmm.
have I ask question and participant ask me question, and we have a discussion and we have discovery
Yep.
together. So I like to challenge that. So all my workshops are done with that context. So if they come in hoping that I will feed them with answer, that's not going to happen. But I will facilitate a process that they will come back and tell me, hey, I think I found the way. Good, I've done my job. So that's the myth. That's the myth. People think that I come with the only solution I give is a process of discovery.
Absolutely.
That's a solution. Yeah, not
I
the
love that.
answer. Yeah.
I
And
love that.
and every participants are different. Every
Yes.
participants are different. Like the barriers to speaking English, right?
Mm.
I have 100 students, sometimes I have 150. They all have different barriers. Can you imagine if I were to show on the PowerPoint slides, 1, 2, 3, here are your barriers? That would not be uh, accurate. So
True.
instead, I put in a process. They come and tell me, this is my barrier. This is my barrier.
Mm.
So all 150 or 100 of them will have a different barrier, and they will learn how to address it themselves. So I think the future of learning,
Yep.
this I found this method to be more empowering. So we're not the star. We don't spoon feed. And the other myth is some of my working friends think that we are highly, highly, highly paid. Not always true. Not always true.
You know.
And I have one more thing. I have one thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Go. Go.
I
Go
have
ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I have some people have the perception, right?
Uh huh.
If I want an easy job and earn well, I'll become a trainer. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
no. That would be a disaster. And I've also seen newbie trainers who
Mm-hmm.
come in and constantly talk about pay and money. This is how I want to be paid and all that. Rather than having that conversation, how best can we serve? What are the methods? How to understand client more. But
Yep.
those who are only interested in money, they won't last long. They'll get frustrated.
Absolutely.
They'll get
Agree.
frustrated because the price will increase depending on your client.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, you got to ask, do I want to serve this client or not? And it goes back to your intention. Why are you in this journey in the first place?
Yep.
So if people think that I'm here for the money, okay, that's another myth. You
Mm.
can ask my trainer friends.
Some of the comments are coming in as well. We will take a look at the comments
Thank
just in a
you,
bit.
Hein.
Yeah, very very nice comment. I'll get this comments up on the screen just in a bit. Intan, I to be very honest, the moment that you've mentioned about some of the misconception, the first part of it, I had goosebumps actually. The way you explained it. To be very frank and honest, because well, I mean, I don't do mindfulness. I don't do so much of EQ training, to be very honest. But I can relate to the idea of conducting training myself, and I got to agree with you if I can say 300% or 1000%, if I may say. Um, a lot of people might think that, hey, becoming a trainer is like being a star, right? Because you come into a room and then people are like looking up to you, idolizing you. And I think for us, we can agree that, at least for myself and Intan here, I think that's not what we are craving for. That's really not what we are craving for. Well, I mean, if people come say that, hey, I really look up to you, well, that's a bonus for us, right?
Yes.
But we don't
Yes.
come into a classroom or come into a session to say that, hey, after this session, people say that, hey, oh, I look up to Syuk or Intan because he's like the something that we idol, something like our master of whatever not. Because we are here because it's really about what I'm hearing from you. If correct me if I'm wrong, it's you are here because of the value you want to impart and share,
Yes.
and the impact you want to actually develop and change on. Not really so much of changing them, but rather for them to create that change themselves. But you are just there to become like the to say that, hey, you know what, you might want to consider turning right. That might not be the way, but that might want to be the consideration. Or you might want to consider turning to the left. That might be an opportunity for you. And when you mentioned about money as well, I think that's a very valid point. And what I'm hearing as well, what you shared, if you are really in it for the money, well, I mean, no, the reality is if you're in it for the money, if your business model is right, yeah, probably that's where the money is, because let's not lie. Everyone start a business, everyone works because of money. But if money is your main factor to be a trainer, you will get drained because you're dealing with humans. You're not dealing with machines, because when dealing with humans every day, you get drained because you're absorbing their energy as well. So that's a challenge, right? But have there been anyone, right, that comes to you and you know, I don't know, like try to, or perhaps your own misconception before you actually get into industry, because that was your misconception. That's what other people thought about you, right? But maybe before you get to this space, right, what was some of your misconception? And then once you come in, and then you realize that, actually, it's not true. This is not actually what it is. Actually,
Okay, my misconception started during my days in corporate. I spent 2 years
okay,
in a bank and 7 years in telecommunication. So at that
okay,
time, I was already attending corporate training. And
okay.
then every time I saw these young people, I always thought there's a degree in whatever to become a trainer. So I became a kepochi, and I actually go to each one. Hey, what degree did you do in school? So they came out, I did law, I did engineering. I said, how come people don't tell me that this career exists, So
Yeah.
I found it, I thought there was a special degree for this. And because I took finance and I work in the bank and I do in IT, I thought I didn't have a chance. That was my misconception. Then it happened that because I love personal development myself. So I
Mm-hmm.
went for training. I paid on
Yeah.
my own outside the corporate, and I found some interesting way. I found very effective ways, not reading the PowerPoint type, but it's very
Mm.
experiential. So,
Yeah.
and I felt so good on the last day. That's when I
Nice.
decided, if this is how good my participant can feel, I want to be the one in front to make them feel that way. Because I
Wow.
love that. I love that feeling of making people feel good, whether they enlighten, aha moment, or happy, or they found an answer. Doesn't matter, but they feel that aha and happy. So that's where my journey started. So in 2001, I was only 30 at the time. I was already coaching uh, CEO, but I did
Mm.
it for a multinational company. But still, I was
Nice.
too young to go out on my own, and
Yeah.
I got my trainer in 2004. Still too young to
Nice.
go on my own. Only 4 years after that, I came out on my own. But before that, I just freelance facilitator here and there, just to learn
Mm-hmm.
the ropes.
Yeah.
And while I was doing sales at that time, so it's only when I found it to be suitable for me to go out into the market, then only I started in 2008. But
Wow.
yeah, misconception. So that part. I thought there has to be a special degree.
I'm guilty
But
of that, by the way. I'm guilty of that as well. I'm like, hey, do I need to take a degree in there's a degree in training. I mean, there are lah, out there, but it's just that's not really a track that people actually go for. You don't take a degree in training just to do training. Yeah, that's a.
yeah.
Sorry, you wanted to say something earlier on, just before this.
No, I was reading the comments. Muhan,
Yeah,
thank you,
let's.
Muhan. Thank you, Riza. Thank you, Eric. And Muhan
Yeah.
say, haha, got so many easier ways to make money. Well, we yamcha to Riza. He's my
Totally.
psycho.
I should have conversation with him as well. I need to have a chat
Yes,
with him after this. Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
him.
Yes. Then there's another comment from Reese. Hello, intern session. Always wow. I've experienced it, seen it. I saw the participant changes. Superb. You see, these are all real life testimony of your great work. Really. Let's see, Mohan. This is one testament I get from intern participants, especially the young ones. They say intern is very relatable. That's very powerful, by the way. Relatable is very powerful. And always learn a learning partner rather than someone that talks down to them. Really love it.
Partner. Yeah.
Wow.
And I love working with millennials. And I love working as a learning partner, like Mohan said. I'm not here to be their mom and dad. I'm not here to be their. There was a joke. Yes, boomer. I don't want to be that. I want to be their friend. Last
Good
thing
point.
I want to go like, yeah, boomer. No. I'm your learning partner.
I really love that word, the learning partner, because it's a process, right? We are not here just a one-time off thing. If we can be part, even if it means I conduct a session for a company, an organization, and it's just a matter of like maybe just one day. But even if it means after that you want to keep in touch with me, you want to seek some advice over on the socials. I mean, we are more than happy to do that, right? Because that's what exactly we're in this for. So another comment, shut for me. Class session, super interesting. Just speak. Is that your tagline or something? Is there something that you will tell them?
Yes, it's affirmations. If you go to Law of Attraction, NLP, they give you positive affirmation. So just speak is actually an affirmation. If people who are hesitant to speak, they doubt themselves, so they affirm as, you just speak. And that's how they make the cue to do public speaking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sorry if I'm distracted. It's because as you are talking right now, I'm actually just taking some dumb notes. Taking down some notes actually. So don't mind me. I'm actually, because I think
not at all.
it's a lot of knowledge right here as well. Thank you. So wow, I'm not sure about the rest who's watching this. If you you agree with me, some of you that's watching us from YouTube, Facebook, or even LinkedIn, if you agree with me when you hear our dearest guest speaks, right? There's a very calm, soothing, and zen mode that's, it just settles in, to be very honest. Because when we were sharing, I had a bit of goosebump quite a few times, because you could feel that it comes from your heart. It was very genuine. It was very sincere. And it wasn't like, if in Malay, people would say, bukan buat-buat lah, it is very real, right? It comes from experience as well. I could really relate to that. And to be very frank and honest, as a trainer myself, I always aspire to have the energy from people like yourself. I know of someone, another friend, a good friend of mine. She's also my mentor. Her name is Nur Aifa. She actually do mindfulness as well. So it's very calm and composed. And then we always ask her, don't you get annoyed with students? Because she deals with students as well. Before this, she said, don't you just get annoyed with students? How do you deal with this? And he said, no, Syuk, you just got to, you got to understand. They are young. Then when I hear that, I'm like, okay, fine,
Okay. Ada bunyi mak-mak tak?
A bit. So Eric said, oh yes, Kak Intan can calm all storms. Totally, You see, even you see, everyone is agreeing. I agree, Kak Intan is definitely soothing and calm voice. Authentic. This is why you get drawn to her. Julia.
Julia.
Hello.
Thank you, Julia. Thank you, Tris. Nice. Thank you. Morning, Adil. Actually, let me just backtrack.
Yeah, please go ahead.
I come from a long way. When I was a teenager, I had to go to boarding school that I didn't like. I had the tiniest tolerance over people. I swear to God, I'm not lying at all. Okay, I couldn't get along with people.
Okay.
Very difficult. And then in my 20s as well, I had some difficult time. It was only after 30s. At 30, I got a divorce and I did some personal development and I learned. And because I've gone through some series of painful experience, I was verbally bullied in school and I didn't like it. And it got me to be very curious. As I grow older, now I reflect back. The first thing I learned when I take up my personal development, I said, how can people be so mean? Why do people say mean things? Why people bully on social media? And this curiosity has driven me to take out all the certification lah.
Mm.
Not only at first I wanted to find the why, and then like from the why, and I'm like, oh, this is not going away. People are, with the social media, there's more avenue for people to bash others. You see,
Yeah.
the
Agree.
cyberbullying and all that. And then I go like, oh, how do we stop this? And I go into how, and that's where I go into NLP and then mindfulness and EQ as well. How do we stop this? Because it's not healthy at all for our mental health. Not just don't talk about millennials, teenagers, even people at my age we are affected, When we see people write nasty things on social media, it's not nice. It's really not
Yep.
nice. This has got to stop. I know social media has only been around 15 years, but we got to evolve. We got to evolve with kindness, more kindness. That's what we need. We need to be together. We are in it together. There's no me or you who's better than who. We're all in it together. So it's 2021. We got to evolve from where we were.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what I'm hearing is that it's really about how your past experiences has kind of evolved. I wouldn't want to say shaped, but rather have evolved and change your calling as you were seeking your why, you found your purpose. I may say, as you're seeking your why, you find your purpose. And I think to be hearing from you, all your sharing. I'm not sharing this because we're having this live conversation, but it's really from the bottom of my heart. I must say that I think it's God's gift lah. I might say because of what you are doing, it's really we really need a lot more people who are there to impact individual, to empower the life of others, because that's the value they want to give and not because of the money they want to get. Right? Money is bonus lah, of
Yes.
course. Right?
Value,
So,
value. Yeah.
and I think your experience
Value you want
really
to give.
carry a lot of value. Really, really carry a lot of value. Yeah.
Now, come to think of it, I mean, this is just not me. I read a lot that, sometimes people go through adversity, they go through tough times, and later they come out and they realize that whatever they learned from their adversity, they could use it to make a difference to others. So I
Sure.
always feel that there's always a reason our Creator made us go through such experience, and it's now that we found the answer. It's our responsibility to share it to the
Yep.
public so that there'll be less suffering, less people, for the things that I had to go through. I always think that I don't want people to go through that. I don't want people to
Mm.
get bullied. I have, when my kids were teenager, I always ask them, did people, your schoolmates say nasty things to you? How's your social media? They're all on private.
Oh,
They're
okay.
like, I say, okay, do you see how mean people can be on social media? They say, yes, ma. So I say, you put yours on private. It's not an obligation to tell the whole world what you're eating and all that. If it's gonna bring in all these negative remarks and you can't take it, you just keep it private. You know.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So for
Not
for mental health sake.
agree. And I think not everyone is able. Not everyone have that certain. I mean, our threshold are a little bit different. How much we can
Yes.
accept certain
Yes.
comments. For example,
Yes.
people to comment like, "Hey, Syuk," example, right? Okay, for example, now people say, let's say over here, Wehan say, correct, she can be an ID DJ soothing and calming voice. And then example, someone will tell me, "Hey, Syuk, your voice not very nice." I might take it very lightly. To me, it's like, okay lah. I mean, it's my voice, right? But for some people, that might be like very, very it can be very detrimental, sorry.
Yeah.
And it can really affect them as well. And I think that's really, really and I love what you just shared, because we are not obligated to put ourselves openly out there, because we do have our own mental well-being to be
Yes.
mindful of, be
Yes.
careful of
Yes.
as well. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah.
Nice. Wow. Let's take a look. Okay, Tris. Yes, I would like to listen to her
Tris.
podcast daily. Nothing affirming to listen to all her advice. Wow. A lot of people. All these are all your really, really true testimonial. It's like, wow, the
Yeah,
conviction.
some of them I met on LinkedIn. We had some
Nice.
coffee session lah, jam talk lah, but it's nice. I think this MCO has brought us together
Absolutely.
online.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want about social media. I think it's how we use it.
Mm.
it's when you use it right, then you get the value. Like connecting
Exactly.
with people, connected to Julia. Thank you for your comment.
Like the story about boiling
Yes.
egg, carrot, and coffee. Intan has become coffee through the mistake.
Yeah, more like coffee
Ah,
luwak. Like
okay,
luwak
okay.
coffee
I think
lah.
I kind of know this story actually. Okay, okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes, yes.
This is a very powerful story. Yes, yes. I love this. I love this.
Uh,
Uh, wow. Okay. Awesome. Okay. Feel free to get your comments in. Really love the conversation right here. Let me just perhaps as we move along. All right. You have shared a little bit about how you kind of started off, some of the misconception. If I would like to actually combine two of these questions because I have two questions, but I thought maybe I just gel it up, put it together. And the first question for you would be, have you ever felt that you have failed as a coach, as a trainer, as a facilitator? And if yes, how do you actually, what exactly happened if you don't mind sharing? All right. If no, what was some of your advice? Perhaps we focus about if yes lah, what happened, and maybe some of your takeaways or your satisfaction being in the profession as a mindfulness coach, a facilitator. What was some of your great takeaway or satisfaction for yourself?
I like to take a moment to reflect on some of my failed situation.
Sure.
Um, I had two areas. Yeah. There's one time. Remember I mentioned I usually there are other people who do the marketing or run the project for me. I only go into the
Mm-hmm.
class and do my thing. There's one time in 2012, I was given a task to be in Borneo. I was in Sabah for 2 months, and I was training the hardcore poor. So I was given only, I think, 1 or 2 days to be with them to
Okay.
prove to them that they were earning less than 300 ringgit per month.
Oh, wow.
Per month. Okay. So I went there. I designed an activity. I remember these are kampung folks. Yeah, some of them are even illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
So design the program, but because the program is already set by the project manager, they only give me 2 days. But after going through the program, we said they need us to go hand for another 6 months. Okay, and when I spoke to the shareholder, they said,
Uh-huh.
sorry, no more budget. But later we found out they actually have budget, but the budget is actually meant for the as a business income. And then after that project, after that project,
Mm-hmm.
that project manager started a jewelry business. So
Oh,
you know what kind
wow.
of budget you're talking about here, right?
Wow.
I felt so bad because these are the people I met. These
Yep.
are, the kampung folks that I met. But I gotta tell you this story. One of the process that I do in my class is I get them to write journal.
Okay.
Okay,
Journal. Yep.
play games, reflection, ask question. What did you notice? What did blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
End of the day, go home and write a journal. What have you learned about yourself today? Okay. So when I teach fresh graduates, of course they can do that. But when I went to the kampung for the B40, for the hardcore poor, half of them are literate,
Mm.
and of course they have different lingo, in
Oh,
Sabah.
okay.
Okay. The next day, the illiterate ones came back with a paper, written something on it. So what they do is they write journal at night. The next day they come back and share. I want to hear what's your reflection from yesterday's. The illiterate ones came back with a paper, and then she said, aku bilang sama anak aku, dia kasih tulis. She uttered her reflection to the children. The children had write, and
Uh,
then I said, I want to hear your reflection.
yeah.
She couldn't write, right? So she called another friend in the class who could read, and she read out the reflection. I was moved with tears. She made me
Wow.
cry. She made me cry, you know. That's why I feel like a failure when the project owner say, no, we cannot do anything else for these people. But they got some realization there. And some of them, they walk for 1 day to go to the training center because that's
Mm.
how, they secluded where they
Mm.
Okay, from the activity, Actually, I found where the problem is. They are not lazy. They are
Okay.
really hardworking. You may see them, they're not physically fit and all that, but they can be in the farm from morning to afternoon, but they don't know how to market.
I see.
Yeah. They can go farming, but they don't know, where do I market this? How do I negotiate? How do I sell? How do I market? It's a totally different skill sets. And this is
Yeah.
the budget that I asked for from the project owner. So that's one. I feel really, really bad. In fact, when I look back until today, I wish I could do something. Yeah. And then the other project was I had to go to the ministry
Oh.
after running programs for students for,
Okay.
we've been close to 7,000 students, and these are top students of the country. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
top students, but they're from rural area. That means they are high potential. Okay, so when I say top students, they are potential doctors, potential engineers, but their
Okay.
English proficiency did not make the mark. So if
Okay.
they finish their SPM O level,
Yep.
for them to go to Ivy League university abroad, they will
Mm-hmm.
struggle. Okay, so
Okay.
we went to the ministry and said, you got to change the way you teach English.
Mm-hmm.
And she sat down in front of the minister, but I'm not good at pitching, so I didn't get it. So
Oh,
until today, I really feel like I failed. And
I
today,
see.
as that was 2013, 2014, and today 2021, people still talk about how bad the English proficiency. You know. So thanks for reminding. I
Oh,
have that too. Yes, I really feel that I failed, and because of that, I really wanna, moving forward, I really want to make sure, because sometimes people don't know what they don't know. They don't know what they're
mm.
missing. So,
Yep.
and we know what's missing. We know, hey, this is the way to solve. But sometimes it's to get the stakeholder to say yes. So that's on my failure. On the things that I find most fulfilling is, of course, when participants come back. I even on LinkedIn, I have participants say, remember you came and trained us in 2008. He wrote to me in
Mm.
2020.
Wow.
Huh? I said, you remember me? You found me on LinkedIn. Oh, I learned something you taught us at that time. Thank you so much. I've applied it. Of course, after 12 years, he has grown. When junior executive, now a manager somewhere, things
Nice.
like that. Things like that really makes it like all worthwhile, because I believe in law of karma,
Mm.
and nothing feels as good as when you get to do good karma at
Yep.
work, and that
Yep.
and that's how you earn a living. You
Nice.
make people feel good. So I do it not just for me; it's also for my children.
Mm.
When I grew up, I learned this from my father. My father is a person who likes to stop by the roadside and help people in trouble with cars, because he's an engineer. He could fix cars. He will stop, and then we had to wait. We're
Wow.
supposed to go for holiday, and then we had to wait, and then he fix it, and then go. Sometimes my mother asks, "Do
Nice.
you have to?" Then my dad say, "If we don't, who will help them?" And
Yeah.
I believe that because of that good karma that my dad has already done, when I
Absolutely.
got into trouble, I always have somebody just out of nowhere help.
Wow.
So I want to do that for my children as well.
And I think that kind of highlighted one of the keyword that you mentioned right at the start, actually, when I thought it kind of very on point right there, because it's just sync up very nicely. You mentioned the word service at the start of the
Yes.
entire life, and what you just shared is basically being a service to others as well, beyond just our daily job, but how can we actually be of service to others in our daily life as well, because the returns that we get, it's really it comes in every form, any form
Yeah.
as well. Sometimes all we got to do is just to take a step back and really um, look deeper, and we realize that actually it isn't too bad after all. It isn't really too bad after all, because there are that small little returns that we get because of maybe like what you said, right, the good karma that happens before
Yes.
this as well.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Nice,
And
nice,
I
nice.
and I hope we'll have more people just live their life and just continue to make good karma,
Yeah,
because we never know when we're gonna need it.
exactly. And I
Yeah,
think
we never know.
one of the things that I always share, right, some of my friends, I said, hey, you know what? The simplest thing is that, oh, we always dine outside, right? We always, before this whole circuit, COVID and all that, we always dine in outside. I always share with my friend, hey, why not as a start, right? Just make it a habit, put your plates back at the right place. As simple as that, right? Or if some of them might say, but Syuk, by doing that, right, you are actually killing some jobs. I said, okay, fine. If you don't want to do that, then what you can do is to stack up some of the plates, put one side, so that people who wants to take up that table, they can easily sit down. They don't have to look for it, because we also face that struggle every time we go out for lunch, right? Especially in the working hours, during the working hours. So these are the small little things that we can do, because a lot of people might think that, hey, you want to do good things, you must think of something very big and then make it a big impact. Sometimes it's really about doing that small little goods every day, and then the impact will just get bigger as well. So
Yeah.
wow. Let's take a look at some of the comments just to lighten up the mood a little bit. But that was really, really very heartfelt sharing. Thank you so much, Intan, for really that, some of your challenges. I'm pretty sure you felt very disappointed at yourself back then when you realized that you couldn't make it. It's like, yeah, I have this idea, I know it will work, but you're not able to justify. People are not able to take in and believe in you back then. But I think that kind of shaped. And I'm pretty sure right now, if you were to come back and say that, hey, you know what, I told you, right? I told you. Why are you doing? Why are you not doing it? So I think right now the kind of credibility that you have, it's fantastic as well. So
Thank you.
let's take a look. Adil, I totally agree. I used to have a tendency of to share everything with the whole world, but ever since I moved to private, I feel so much more content with everything that I do, because I feel so much safer from the negatives of people. Lovely. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry, wanted to say something.
Yeah, we get to set our boundaries. I mean, we got to take care of ourselves too.
Right.
I mean, once the world people know how to be kinder, then we can set it public.
Exactly. At the end of the day, it's about yourself also, because if we are not able to manage our own emotion, then let's keep it within us and then slowly open it up, because the world is really it's a very scary space out there, especially with social media, right? So yeah. No, Adil, I just finished a session with Singapore Management University a couple of days ago, SMU. Adil was one of them who actually invited me to actually conduct a session about personal branding on LinkedIn. So one of the things I told them, hey, you know what, you got to put yourself out there, especially with this kind of session, you need to be heard. People need to know that you are here, even if by asking a question, because there's an opportunity for you to be known. And I think after this session, probably Intan already know, oh, who's Adil? Right? Because if Intan were to see Adil's name with that photo, it's like, oh, okay, I know who's Adil. So that's really, really interesting. So Eric, I just realized, you called yourself Syuk, Syukri. Yeah. That's how I like to introduce myself to students. In Singapore, there's it. Yeah. It's like, my name is Syuk. So Syuk. So they say, oh, okay. Trees. I think people in general take a lot of things personal, especially on LinkedIn. When they have about their stories, it's usually they want to share, but some people reading it and trying to take it personally, which then restricts the authenticity of LinkedIn as a platform to share personal stories. I love this one. That's why I think, Intan, do you agree with me? I think we need a bit more of human touch on LinkedIn.
Oh yeah.
Beyond all the statistic, beyond all the tips and tricks, be human. Be real, just be genuine if you're sharing. Even if it means that that day you don't feel good, you want to share why you don't feel good and how you can share with others, seek advice. Go ahead. It's a community. So, yeah.
People want to know the human side of you, and not just not just what you know.
Yeah. It was memorable ever since the teh tarik session kat Intan, those NLP tips. Was this teh tarik session? Was it virtual or was it in person?
Eric Syuk is a Zoom session. We did a.
Also, he conducted Eric. Nice.
Eric Syuk, Dr. Eric does a lot of teh tarik session live and call a few of us get together.
Yeah, I love his. His content. Whenever he share, I'm like, wow. All his bite size. He repurposed his content very well. We really got to be specific with whom we want to share our thoughts. I realize not all people are the same. Some take time to listen to us, or some I'm like, but have different intention. Yeah, that's true. That's very true. As long as we are happy, can already lo. Okay. Nice.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Time check now is 11:20. All right. Oh, my target was 30 minutes, right? Also 45 minutes. Now we are heading towards our 1 hour. Let's move on to our last 1 to 2 questions, and then we can wrap this up. All right, and then we can have our good weekend after here, after this onwards. So maybe You have shared about your journey. You have shared how you started in the industry as a facilitator, if I may say. Over the past few years, some of the challenges that you face about one of the things that you mentioned about age, right? When you were younger, people didn't take you very seriously. People have this misunderstanding or misconception about how are you? You want to tell me, is it, you are only this age, you want to talk to a CEO level, and of course you prove your point. You climb through you rose through the rank and profile and see where you are right now. In fact, I think a lot of budding new trainers, coaches, facilitators look up to you. I strongly believe in that, even for myself, to be very frank and honest. In fact, I only followed your profile not too long ago, right? I mean, maybe over the circuit breaker period. COVID period. I think. But I think there's a lot that we can learn. But if you can share in just one sentence, right? Over the past few years, what is your profession really about? What do you really do actually? Just one sentence.
In one sentence, that's
Yes.
tough for a speaker,
Well, that's exactly why I asked this question.
Okay, I help people discover their strength and empower themselves to take charge and create a better life for themselves.
Nice.
Be it as in customer service, public speaking, communication, EQ, mindfulness, the essence is all that. It's about them
discovering for the betterment of themselves, for their future. Nice, lovely. So with that said, my last question, and this is a very, very important one because it's about what do you do, and at the same time, it's for those of them who are out there who wants to explore and to do what you do. And that brings me to my last part. Don't be shocked because I'm going to play a video just in case. I'm just going to give a disclaimer here in case you suddenly got a pop up, right? Okay. So that brings me to my last part, which is the golden ticket advice. So the golden ticket advice for the people out there, if let's say they want to get into this industry, they're going to get into this profession, what will be your advice for these people out there? Let's go.
Okay, number one, to be ready to be in service, be ready to be a servant, be ready to learn and grow exponentially from wherever you are. No matter how long you have been in a corporate, I've been a GM for 10, 20 years. I've been in corporate 10, 20, 25 years. I know a lot of things, but be prepared to grow even more if you wish to jump into this profession. Be out there and make a difference. Because the difference is that when you were in corporate, you were serving one industry. But once you're out here, you have to be ready to serve different organization with different culture, with different requirement, different profile. So you got to be ready to grow and be able to be flexible, be agile in your approach in assisting people.
Nice. Lovely advice, really golden advice. And it's also, some of the words that probably wasn't mentioned, but what I'm hearing from the entire sentence is also at the same time to humble yourself down as well. Because when you're humbling yourself down, that's where you're really able to further relate to people, like what you're exactly doing, relate to people, understand people, and able to connect with people as well. So, Intan, once again, thank you so much for joining me, for being here on a Saturday morning. Really, really appreciate your time. It's been really wonderful to hear from you. And I think the power of LinkedIn, the power of social media indeed can be utilized well if it's leveraged, in this case, like what we're having right now, to connect with one another, to spread knowledge, to spread stories as well. So, Intan, thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you. I'm honored to be a guest to you.
Oh, I'm touched, but I'm really very thankful, for you to agree. In fact, it was supposed to be last week, but we had to shift because of some last minute changes on my end. So I apologize on that once again. And for the rest of you out there, for those of you who are watching us or listening to us, if I may say, stay tuned because next week we're gonna have the second live next week on the 26th. I think 26th, if I'm not wrong. I can't remember the date but it's next week. 26th. It's on a Friday night. Okay, it's gonna be different. It's gonna be on Friday night. So for those of you who probably after after your whole week of work, you wanna just wind down, just wanna chill, because next week I'm gonna be talking about something interesting, something that's growing in the entire global workforce, which is freelancers. So what do they actually really do, and some of the professional misconception of a freelance, and some of the challenges as a freelancer as well. So, Intan, once again, thank you so much for joining us. I shall keep in touch with you. All right.
Thank you.
No problem. My, really, really a great pleasure to have you on board. If you don't mind, I will take you off the screen. All right. But don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. I'm gonna talk to you after this. So, for the rest of you who are still with us right now, thank you so much for tuning in. Really, really appreciate all your time for joining us for today's live. It's been a wonderful time for the past an hour or so. It was targeted to just be 30 minutes, but I'm sorry, because when you put two trainers together, they can continue talking and talking. So that's a challenge actually. All right. But once again, if you have not actually connected with myself and Intan, feel free, go ahead and connect with us. You can actually just search for our name. It's right at the bottom right there. All right. You can just connect with us on LinkedIn. Once again, What Do You Do is basically a series where we actually have conversation with professionals, with individuals out there to understand a little bit more about what do they exactly do? What do they really, really do for a profession? Because why? Because what they are doing is probably what other people aspire to do, but it's just that they do not know who to seek for help from. So this might be an opportunity for you to hear about them, from them as well. So with that said, from myself, Syukri, Azman, once again, please stay safe wherever that you are at. Please wear your mask when you're going out. And let's continue to look out for one another, because just be kind lah. Just be kind. That's most important. All right, just be kind, because life is more than just your work. Life is more than just your social media as well. All right. So please be kind to one another, and I shall see you guys in the next live session. So with that said, thank you for watching. Have a great day.